be a miscellaneous study in order to complete the topic in detail and in the most possible shortest way. So, eco criticism was developed in the USA in the early 1990s. So, it is not an ancient or old literary theory. We can also say it is a modern or the postmodern literary theories or studies. Cheryl Glotfelty is a co-founder of eco-criticism with Harold Fromm. Another term for eco-criticism is, as we have already spoken, green studies or the environmental studies. Now these eco-critics, for example Cheryl Glotfelty and others, emphasize writers who highlight nature as their subject matter. And if we don't talk about the contemporary or the postmodern writers, I think we all can name a few writers who have emphasized on nature, starting from the pre-Chaucerians to the Elizabethans, to the Romantics, to the moderns and the postmoderns and the contemporary authors, right? Now, here we have the Comedy of Survival, Studies in Literary Ecology by Joseph Meeker, and this was published in 1972. So in 1972 there comes a writer by the name Joseph Meeker who writes the Comedy of Survival, Studies in Literary Ecology. As the name, as the title suggests, Studies in Literary Ecology, that means lot of nature. So this book tells the readers how we can learn a lot about human survival in life, how literature shows the way. It shows how contingency means so much in life. Meeker finds the paradigm of modern situation in Dante's Commedia, in which hell is described in imagery strikingly similar to the modern industrial, technological, overpopulated, polluted world, while Purgatory's peak is a divine forest, dense and green. Paradise is a state of mind, an adaptation of man to nature, rather than change nature to suit man. So this is about the Comedy of Survival, Studies in Literary Ecology. It is written by Joseph Meeker. Then we have Ramchandra Guha, another writer who publishes his work in the year 2000 by the title Environmentalism, A Global History. Donald Wosters, another author, Nature's Economy, A History of Ecological Ideas, is another work, and this was published in the year 1996. This work, Nature's Economy, A History of Ecological Ideas, it talks about a wide-ranging investigation of ecology's past. It traces the origins of the concepts and discusses the thinkers who have shaped it, shows how it in turn has shaped the modern perception of our place in nature. Another writer, Arnold Toynbee, Mankind, has written Mankind and Other Mother Earth in 1976. Then we have the Association for the Study of Literature and Environment also established. In short, we call it ASLE, and it is committed to the study of literature and environment, and this was formed in the year 1992. We have the journal called ISLE, Interdisciplinary Studies in Literature and Environment, and this was established, or it was first published in 1993. The Eco-Criticism Reader, Landmarks in Literary Ecology. This is a work, and this was edited by Cheryl Glotfelty, so you're not reading the name for the first time, and Harold Fromm, and this was published in 1996. The Eco-Criticism Reader, this work, is a collection of its kind and anthology of classic writings in the field of ecology, exploring the relationship between literature and physical environment, literary ecology, in the study of the ways that writing both reflects and influences our interactions with the natural work. Then we have eco-critics. All these eco-critics we have spoken about so far, they read major works from an ecocentric point of view and extend the application of the concepts to areas other than the natural world. The word eco-criticism can be traced back to this work, Literature and Ecology. We have already spoken about an experiment in eco-criticism. Then we have another writer, William Ruckett. William Ruckett's essay, Literature and Ecology, an experiment in eco-criticism, was published in 1978, and for the first time this word or this term eco-criticism appears in this work. Lawrence Koop is another eco-critic. He writes the Green Studies Reader, From Romanticism to Eco-Criticism. Now, this work, The Green Studies Reader by Lawrence Koop, is a comprehensive selection of critical texts which address the connection between ecology, culture, literature. It offers a complete guide to the growing area of eco-criticism and a wealth of material on green issues from the Romantic period to the present. Then we have Edward Abbey. Edward Abbey writes a work, Desert Solitaire, and this was published in the year 2004. Desert Solitaire, A Season in the Wilderness, is an autobiographical work by Edward Abbey. It depicts Abbey's preoccupation with the deserts of the American Southwest. He describes how the desert affects society and more specifically the individual on a multifaceted sensor level. Abbey introduces the desert as the flaming globe, blazing on the pinnacles and minarets and balanced rocks. Then we have all these writers, R.W. Emerson, Margaret Fuller, Henry David Thoreau, and these are the writers, I know you have already heard this name. These are the writers from the 19th century, American writers, and they are said to draw attention to nature and environment. In Emerson's work, you find environment is emphasized a lot. Fuller and Thoreau also does the same. Emerson's book Nature was published in the year 1836. Nature is an essay written by Emerson. It is in this essay that the foundation of transcendentalism is put forth, a belief system that espouses a non-traditional appreciation of nature. So transcendentalism and other important key terms are touched upon by Emerson in his work. Also, Rabindranath Tagore talks about or explains or touches upon these terms in his work Gitanjali and others. Right now, we are talking about Emerson, and the concept of oversoul, etc., are spoken about by the author in this work. Then we have another writer, Jonathan Bate, and his work, Romantic Ecology, Wordsworth and the Environmental Tradition. This was published in the year 1991. This is a romantic ecology. Jonathan Bate's Romantic Ecology. This work reassesses the poetry of Wordsworth in the context of the abiding pastoral tradition in English literature. Bate explores the politics of poetry and argues that, contrary to critics who suggest that Wordsworth was a reactionary who failed to represent the harsh economic reality of his native Lake District, the poet's politics were fundamentally green. As our first truly ecological poet, Wordsworth articulated a powerful and enduring vision of human integration with with nature, which exercised a formative influence on future conservation movements and is of great relevance to the great environmental issues today. Cheryl Blotfelty has defined eco-criticism as the study of the relationship between literature and the physical environment. So this is the what do we say, ecological criticism and a few ecological writers. That's all for this particular literary theory. For any questions, queries, you can contact me, text me, comment me on this video, and the detailed description or any other required response shall be entertained on that basis. Thank you.